Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. So, we finally got the first update for Rotk8 Remake, and it is a good one. So, they added some things that are quality of life things, things that were missing essentially from the game. And I'm gonna go over three things that are really useful, that are very important for this update, and then one extra thing that I feel like shows that at least in the beginning here, Koei is paying attention to the details, to the details of this game. So yeah, I'm gonna go over these three things, and like I said, we're gonna cover that extra thing afterwards. Okay, and so I have here booted up, for example, one of my absolute favorites, Cao Cao. And so let's say I'm gonna go ahead and play it Cao Cao. I go under scenario settings here. The first thing that's changed is the difficulty. So we finally got advanced difficulty, but not only did we get advanced, we got custom settings. So now you can go ahead and tinker with domestic affairs, the stuff that we've come to expect from Koei games at this point. Gold income, supply income, soldier income, domestics. The rate that they increase domestics is kind of cool also. You can actually basically speed up your game now so that it just plays faster, which is not something that's common in all of their games. Okay, not only can you do this, you can also increase something that I personally had a problem with right away, man. I mean, if you guys saw my Hanfu stream, my very first stream for this game, one of the very first things that I noticed is that the stats were very slow. The growth rates were very slow. That's been fixed. Now you can increase your stats at a much faster rate. Not just your own, but overall throughout your force. Other officers not in your force. You can increase your cultural, notoriety, merit. So if you're looking to cap those things quicker, whatever your playthrough is, you can finally increase it faster. Overall, basically, you can make your game play a lot faster. The whole game all around. They've even added little sliders for the battle, such as starting morale for you versus the enemy, initial and the increase every turn, stratagem. I mean, they added a lot of little things here that I'm looking forward to just tweaking to try to find where a good challenging spot is, as time goes on. But the main thing for me, the stats. Growth rates go up faster. If you've been watching me play on this channel, that's a big thing for me in all of my Koei games. Like I said, I mentioned it in my very first run. I was like, stat growth rates are too low. Immediately you can tell. As soon as I started training, I was like, it's too slow. It needs to be fixed. They already fixed it. They already gave us this, which is great. Now, speaking on difficulty, one thing I want to highlight. Okay, another thing. AI aggressiveness was way too low in the game. They finally added, well, I say finally because, I've been waiting. I've been waiting. I did my Hanfu for a little bit. Another big problem that I noticed right away, and I'm sure everybody noticed it, was the aggressiveness. Aggressiveness was just too low. Now you can set it to very aggressive, which will hopefully, and from what I've seen so far, it brings it a little bit closer to OG Rotk8 aggressiveness, where the AI is just anybody can go ahead and attack at any time. Base aggressiveness was, like I said, way too slow. Now, one thing I want to show when it comes to difficulty, right? If you guys play on the normal difficulties here, just a heads up, if you're playing on hard and advanced, your maximum troops will be capped. If you change over to custom, that cap will disappear. So what I mean by that is you can play on custom. So let's say I'm playing on custom. I can have the aggressiveness very aggressive. I can have soldier income set to high and the AI set to high. But that cap, my cap does not have a limit as long as I'm playing on custom. So if you guys want to get, you don't want to worry about that cap, but you still want that challenge, I would say just play on custom difficulty. And if you want to play with that cap, where your cities can only have so many soldiers and the AI just has more soldiers to begin with, just keep it on advanced. So there's going to be there's a distinguishing difference here. Even though it's not outlined or anything, go out and test it for yourself. Boot up a file in advance. You'll see that the caps are still there for your soldiers, but as soon as you switch it over to custom, those caps are gone. So that's one of the differences that I've noticed. Again, I'm going to be starting a run on advanced difficulty, and we're going to be doing a community run here. You know, check the post on the channel. By the time you're watching this, there should already be a post announcing the community run. So I'm going to be doing one on custom, one on advanced, just to try to get some experience as time goes on. You know, again, and just discover things as the game goes on, right? So that's the second thing that I say that's very important. The first thing is the growth rates. The growth rates are important because it matters for both types of players, whether you're playing as a ruler or you're playing you know, more RPG single officer. You want to be able to improve your stats. So that's really important. The difficulty is essential no matter what. Again, this game's difficulty and aggressiveness is just way too low. It's just way too low. We can finally fix that. We finally have all these little things that we can tweak. So I'm looking forward to figuring that out. That's the second thing. The third thing, this is really important for variety, for replayability. If you guys tab over to scenario settings 2, you will see right here, very bottom, cities for free officers. You can now randomize where free officers appear. This is really important for RNG. I mean, it's just pure RNG, right? Now you don't know who you're going to run into. It just adds an element of unpredictability to these games that is essential. You need it, right? You know, you reach a point where you're like, okay, I already know where everyone's going to show up. And there will come a point where you'll want to mix it up. You finally have the option. So now we can finally mix it up. And whether you're playing as a single officer trying to... For me personally, now I can play as a vagrant force. And I don't know who I'm going to run into. Because the officers are scrambled. So I can run into anybody, anywhere. You know? It really adds a dynamic element to the game to be able to scramble people. Especially in the Three Kingdoms games. More so than the Nobunaga's Ambition game. So... that's the third thing that is really important. Don't sleep on this, man. This is a big deal, okay? Being able to scramble everybody up. You will see people in all sorts of places now, and it's just so much fun because it can change how forces develop. So that's the third thing. Okay, so now let me talk about the extra thing that I think showcases that Koei's gone. You know, they're looking under the engine. They're not just giving us the standard affair, okay? Let's go to that. So the last thing that they added that's really good, really quality of life, to me tells me that they're paying attention. Somebody over there is paying attention, and they're looking under the problems and trying to figure out how to make this game run even smoother, more efficiently, right? Is the tails. So if you go to your tails here, before, you know, again, if you watched my Hanfu playthrough, if you watched my Liu Shan, my 2 uploads, you've heard me immediately complain about this, right? When you go to do the beginning tutorial missions, the tutorial tales, the generic ones that you always get, you have to sit through the dialogue. Before, you'd have to sit through the dialogue as Sima Hui. Talks and rambles, and you're just sitting there, and you have to go through it all if you want to get the basic beginning things that the game gives you, right? No longer. Now, when you go to trigger, you will get a prompt that allows you to, again, I want to say finally, but I know it's the first update. So this is a really good thing. You can finally skip all that tedious dialogue and just get the result. So you can see it right there. R2 plus triangle. You can just skip all the dialogue. It's still not great. I still feel like you should be able to, you know, skip that little pause and break, but whatever, it is miles ahead, okay, of what we had before. You can instantly now skip anything that you want and just see the result right away. And just keep the game going. So you see, now I can just click trigger, hit result, collect whatever it is from this mission, this tutorial mission. Sometimes you don't even get anything. That was another thing that was annoying. And you can just work your way down, and just hit results on everything, collect everything. This was, I can't tell you how good this is, man. You know, for me, I just wasn't using these, just wasn't doing them. I mean, it just takes too long. There's sometimes you have to, you know, you have to weigh those things, like, is this even worth doing? And for me as a ruler player especially, this is just beyond tedious to go through and sit through all this dialogue to get stuff that's really inconsequential, right? As an officer player, I can't imagine the pain of having to do this, expecting your player to sit through tutorial after tutorial every time they restart a character. But we don't have to worry about it. Koei's already fixed it, which is, to me, this is a really good sign, man. This shows me that, like I said, they're not just adding the standard fare stuff. Oh, let's fill in the tutorial. We got to scramble the officers, free officer start, randomizer. Those are normal things. This fix right here is like, okay, somebody up there, like I said, is paying attention. Somebody up there is paying attention. Somebody's listening to feedback somewhere. You know what I mean? Someone cares about how this game is going to go, at least right now, at least in the beginning. So this gives me hope for the updates, that they're not just going to be standard bug fixes until we get the power-up kit later on. It's so good. I mean, I'm a ruler player. I'm so happy that they immediately fixed this, because the pain and suffering, I felt it booting up and playing my run as Hanfu, which if you didn't check out my run as Hanfu when the game launched, definitely go check that out. But I felt it immediately. I felt the tedium, okay? They already addressed it. They're like, hey, now you can skip it out. Not only that, but now you can, you know, you have a notification bell up here. You can turn them off. You can turn off stuff that you don't want to be notified with. So I can go down here and I can say, hey, I don't care about any of this stuff. Please don't bother me about the water lessons. Don't care. Close it out. Never deal with it again in my run. Okay? Don't have to be bothered with it. On the other side, now you can highlight the star and favorite it so that it's always there. So you're not, you know what I mean? You don't forget about it. Really good quality of life, guys. Just really good quality of life. Such a simple thing, but for this company, it's a big step. It's a big step, and if you've been playing these games for a long time, you know what I mean. It's a really good sign. I don't know what else to say. This is just as important for people that just want to role play, as it is for people that want higher difficulty. It's right on that same level of importance for that type of player, you know, just having this quality of life. So I'm hoping that we see more stuff like this. And you know, that's it. Those are the things that I think are, I mean, that is pretty much most of the stuff, but those are the highlights of what's most important about this update. You can finally mess with everything, all the settings. You can speed up your game. Essentially, by putting everything on fast, you can now tinker and make your game as fast as you want to make it. Growth rates, income, troop income. I mean, you can accelerate this game so that it just runs faster, you know? You can increase your aggressiveness, which I highly recommend. I really don't see any reason to play below very aggressive. The AI is just, the standard aggression is just very, very low. Once you know how to play, put it on very aggressiveness. Advanced difficulty is here, although it's not going to be for everybody. I still recommend playing on custom. I might release a video with my own settings just to highlight it once I settle on some things. And yeah, the quality of life here. And don't forget, do not forget, especially if you're playing an early scenario, like Yellow Turbans, for example, like I talked about in my top 3 scenarios, scramble those officer starting positions. It will change how a map develops. Especially some of these officers who are going to want to form vagrant forces, changing where they develop, who they run into, it injects a level of randomness and just makes it more dynamic. So definitely try out scrambling your officers if you haven't already. Take advantage of that. So yeah, that's gonna be it, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this quick video. If you could drop me a like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We're gonna be doing a run pretty soon on the advanced difficulty, And like I said, I'm going to have a community run that I'm going to be running. So if you want to sign up for that before it's full up, make sure you find the community post, sign up for that as well. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Until then.